Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jessica. I'm a mum of one to a little boy called George who is almost 2. I post motherhood and lifestyle content and the odd vlog here and there 3 times a week. I post on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays, so if you like that kind of content, please hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you along, and if you hit the little bell next to the subscribe button, it will notify you every time I upload a video. So today's video, as you can tell from the title, I'm going to be talking to you about the terrible twos and tantrums and how to deal with toddler tantrums. So if you like this kind of video and it's going to be a helper to you, just keep watching and let's get into the video. So first of all, what is a tantrum? And for us with George, he is currently not talking yet. He says the odd word like mummy and daddy, but he isn't talking at all at the moment. So I think for George, it's a lot of frustration. So obviously he can't get his words out, he can't communicate with us to tell us what he needs or what he wants. So when he's not getting that and we're not understanding the babble that he's going on about, he gets very frustrated because he's not getting what he needs or what he wants. George also wants a lot of independence at the moment, and although we give him all the independence we can, sometimes it's not doable. So sometimes we need to still have that control over him and do things for him, but at the moment he's going through a stage where he wants to do everything. So when we have to do something for him, i.e. brush his teeth, because we let him do it to start with, but when then we have to take over and brush his teeth, that then turns into a tantrum because he's not doing it himself. So George has his tantrums when he is hungry, so whether it's he hasn't had much for lunch or he didn't have much for breakfast because he didn't want to eat much, and then mid-morning or mid-afternoon he starts to get really angry and frustrated. So obviously then I know that it's going to be snack time for him, but because he can't communicate with me, he gets really worked up. Also as well when he's tired, so he's currently going through a stage where he doesn't want to nap, but I think he still needs to have a nap, so he will get very angry with himself because he won't go down to sleep. So I will give him some milk, which does help him normally drift off. We give him milk every evening, but I'd give him milk for nap time, and I will lay him down in his cot with a blanket, but he will get so worked up because he doesn't want to nap that he will then result in having a tantrum. So in the end I then go up and pick him up. I'm not just going to let him lay there and cry, and then we will read a book or do something and take his mind off it, and then everything's better. Another time when George has his tantrums as well is when he's not getting enough attention from us, and of course we give him our attention all the time, full time, every day, but obviously there are times when you need to be doing something else, whether it's housework, whether you're visiting a friend that has a baby and you're giving the baby a cuddle. He needs to have my attention or my partner's attention all the time, otherwise it does result in a paddy. So there are times when George has his temper tantrums more often, and it tends to be when we're in public or when we're at somebody's house. When we're at our own home, he has everything here, he's in his own surroundings, so he sort of knows where he is. It tends to be more if we're at a friend's house, or if we are out in public doing the shopping, or if I go for coffee or something, because he wants the independence, he wants to be doing something, he needs to be kept active all the time. If he isn't happy in that situation, he's going to let you know about it. So ways then that I deal with temper tantrums, and these I'm going to talk about first, are the ones that I deal with in public. So children, toddlers especially, they have a very short attention span. So if you're doing something with them, such as, I don't know, watching a certain TV program, playing with a certain toy, eating a certain snack, or just playing a certain game with you, if they then start to have a tantrum, it may be because they're getting bored and they're not getting enough attention from it. So if you just switch things up, their attention span, they're going to forget that they did something previously, and they're going to be doing something similar. So if you just give them something new to do, read a different book, put a different TV program on, play a different game, for a short while, they may have a tantrum again in a few minutes, but for a short while, you may just get them back and happy again and be able to control them, especially in public, that's what you want. Another top tip, and I know sometimes this can be hard if you're doing the shopping or something, then you might not be able to do this one very easily, but it's just change the environment that they're in. So whether you're stuck in one room or you're stuck at one place, if you can get them into a different location, it may just calm them down a little bit more. Maybe they're associating the old environment with having that tantrum, so if you take them away from that, it may calm them down. So if you're in town and you're just shopping, maybe taking them out of the shop and just take them for a walk along the road, it might chill them out a little bit, enough for that tantrum just to stop. So some tips when they're actually having the tantrum. When they're having the tantrums because they want something and you don't want them to have something. For example, sometimes George will go to our bottom drawer in the kitchen and he knows that's where the crisps are. Obviously, if I'm cooking dinner or cooking his lunch, I'm not going to just say yes, go and have some crisps, because I want him to eat his dinner. So don't give in to your children, because then they will think that if you're giving them what they want, so if I gave him the crisps and it would stop him from having that tantrum, that's how he thinks he's going to get crisps. So every time you give in to him and say yes to things, he's going to cry, because that's how he then associates with getting what he wants. And obviously that's not really a behaviour you want to encourage, because in the long run, in the short term it might be better for you, but in the long run it's going to create more problems for you. My child, especially lots of other children as well, but they can sense your stress and your anger. So when they're having their tantrum, just try not to stress, try not to get angry with them, because it is just a stage. The kids can really pick up on how angry or stressed you are, and then it then may make them more stressed and angry, and then you're both going to be in this situation where you're angry and stressed, and it's just not going to help either one of you. So as the parent, you need to stay calm, you need to take control of the situation, and then eventually the child will watch you be calm and stay calm and just copy you, and then the tantrum again should end. Another big tip that I've learned, and only in the past few weeks really, and the past few months it did actually worry me, and I'm sure it goes through everyone's minds, is try not to worry what other people around you think. If they've had children, they know what you're going through, and it is just a stage. It is going to end. It's not going to be when they're 16, 17, although it'll probably be different problems when they get to that age, but they're not going to be throwing themselves around in a supermarket because they're not getting what they want. So just know that people may look at you. Some people don't have kids, some people just don't understand, and they may judge you for it. But a lot of other people around you, they don't care, they've gone through it, they know what you're going through, and they're probably just looking at you to support you, and just to let you know that this isn't going to last forever. So the next few things that I want to talk about in how to deal with your toddler tantrums, they're very like scenario based. So depending on what sort of situation you're in, this is either going to work or not going to work. So the first one is sometimes it's just best to ignore your child's tantrum. Sometimes George will have a really big tantrum, he will then sit up, look to see if I'm looking at him, and then carry on. So again, this is one of the situations where he is doing it for attention, and when he realises he's not going to get what he wants, the tantrum will just end by himself. He will just naturally stop crying and just carry on with what he was doing, whether it was playing with toys or eating his lunch or something, it will end. But you as a parent need to judge whether you should be ignoring that because it will end, or whether you need to then pick him up and comfort him. That then leads me on to my next point really nicely, which is sometimes comfort your children. So if George, like I said earlier, if George couldn't get off to sleep and I know that he needs a nap, maybe just picking him up, having a cuddle with him, singing him a lullaby, putting him down with some milk and reading him a story or something. It may just make him feel a bit more secure that he's got that attention from you, and in the end George might go off to sleep, or if not, he is at least relaxed and he's not getting overstressed or worked up. So there are some tantrum preventions I want to talk to you about. So the first one is praising good behaviour. So if your child does something very well, you need to be praising them with words of encouragement, with cuddles, with affection, just to let them know that they've done a good job. So then if they do it again, they know they're going to get that attention from you. Whereas if they do something bad, you need to not praise them. You need to then judge as a parent yourself if they need telling off or what needs to be done further. But every time they do something good, just praise them, because then they will want to do more good things to get that affection and attention from you. So my second point to try and prevent tantrums is letting your child have some control. So like we spoke about earlier about George wanting to have that independence, if you let your children have some control over what they are doing, i.e. if you offer your children 2 sets of t-shirts to wear for the day and asking them which t-shirt they want to wear, or passing them 2 different snacks and letting your child pick which snack they want. Because although George or some of your children may not be talking yet, they will still pick something, and then that's what you give them. Then they'll understand that it was them that chose that, and that was their own sort of control and independence. They then might have a paddy for the other thing because they're not getting both. George goes through a stage where he needs to have 2 things constantly in his hand, but for a lot of the time, once he has chosen something, that's what he wants, and he will go off with it. So over time, as he learns, he's then going to learn to have more independence and not get worked up or annoyed when he's not getting something that he wants. My next point to prevent tantrums is really trying to understand your children's needs. So when they go from being a baby to a toddler, of course they're still in a routine, but their routines do change dramatically. So for example, I know when George needs a nap. I know when George is going to need a snack. I know when he's going to be hungry. So I will try and plan my day around that. So I wouldn't go out and take him to the park. I wouldn't do my supermarket shop when it's around nap time, because I know then, because he needs to sleep, it's going to cause a tantrum. I wouldn't take him on a really long car journey over lunchtime, because obviously he would need eating. Obviously sometimes you can't get around these things if you have doctor's appointments or things, but you as a parent, you need to get that control, you need to be prepared. So if you're going on a long car journey, snacks, activities, you just need to be prepared throughout the day, knowing what your child wants, and hopefully in the long run, not all of them, but some of the tantrums will be prevented. My last point is to just give your child some space. So it sort of links in with the independence and control, but just letting your child have some independent play, letting them just go and do off what they want around the house, obviously under your supervision, but it just gives your child a bit of sort of free roaming space around the house, just to do what they want and explore what they want, because they might know what they want to do and you're not giving them the right thing, but they might know. So if you just let them have some space, go off around the house, do what they want, and it might just let the child do what they want and calm down a little bit more. So that is all my pointers that I have about dealing with temper tantrums, and these are just things that I have learned as a parent and that have worked for me personally. Obviously, if you have your own concerns or there are things that work for you, great, carry on. If you have any concerns about things, go and see your health visitor. Obviously, I'm not healthcare trained, so anything I'm saying, like I said, just worked personally for me. So I thought I would share with you my tips, I guess, and ideas about how to deal with temper tantrums, in hopes that if some other parents are out there struggling, it might help them too. So thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, like I said at the beginning, please give it a big thumbs up. Please hit that red button down below to subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thank you, bye.
Then my heart just can't ignore that I've never felt before. And if you go, I wanna go there with you.